Welcome to the Canon Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Darius, and today we are joined by CEO and founder of Beast, Arthur Romero. Thanks for joining us today, man.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to be on.
All right, so I kind of want to just get it from the beginning. Where are you from?
So I'm from local San Gabriel Valley, California. I originated right here in Almani, California. Moved around a little bit, went to Rialto, Riverside, California. Stayed out there a little bit with my mom for a while, then moved back over here. And this is pretty much just where I've made home. This is where I've been most of my life. And right here.
So El Monte right here,
yes, sir,
where
right
Beast
here.
is based.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So you guys, you and your family, just like being at this house, you said you've been here most of your life?
So, yes. So my family's actually lived here for more than like 20 years, longer than I've been born. So it's kind of been passed down from like my grandma to my mom and, whatnot. So now I'm living here with my aunt. And this is pretty much where we do all the training for the kids. And this is where we built the gym. And it's been like kind of like the hub for sports training right here in the SGV.
I got just to talk about the family, talk about growing up over here and the support from them.
It was incredible, honestly. Like my family's been, very supportive from the very beginning. Early on, I played sports. Like growing up in youth, I played flag football, a little bit of high school football, a little bit of college ball, and they were just super supportive with everything that I've done, high school wise, sports wise. When I transitioned over from being a player to a coach, I mean the support was endless. My whole family was willing to back me up and was like, hey, whatever it is that you need to do to get where you want to be, let us know. We're more than willing to help you. And it was awesome, to have my family be able to back me up, not only in my sports career, but as well as like my career for life, and just kind of mold me and help me make the decisions that have ultimately like led to me being who I am today. So it was awesome. It's incredible.
So with basing your life around football, was there ever hesitation from your family or was it just support through and through?
I would say it was just support like through and through. Honestly, my family, they would always be at all my football games. We'd play Saturdays, Sundays, Friday nights, tournaments on the weekends and stuff like that. And they were always supportive. They were always there, just constantly traveling with me. As I started getting later into my career, going into college, like wrapping up my high school career, they used to take me on like tours of campuses, Chapman. We've flew to Arizona and whatnot and just toured a lot of different schools and went a lot of different football camps trying to figure out exactly what would be the best outlet for me leaving from high school and going into college. Now,
football has been kind of a lifelong thing. How'd you get into it?
So I actually, I didn't play football until I got to my 5th, 6th grade year in middle school. I started out playing flag, but sports was just always something that I was really like involved with. Like growing up, I started out with baseball and basketball. Those were kind of like the forefront sports. And once I got a little bit older and a little bit more confident in my ability, I was like, I want to do football, I want to try it out. And pretty much just went from transition because I wasn't the best basketball or, baseball player. But once I got on the football field, it's like, okay, like this is something that, I think I could excel in. And again, like I said, just having my family's backing was just awesome because a lot of kids, like, they get into a sport and their parents are like pushing them like, oh, you got to play baseball. Like you started, like, keep going. Like, so for them to be able to kind of help me navigate from going from one sport to the next, it was awesome.
But that drive didn't really come from the parents. It was all you, right?
Oh, no, definitely. When I had chose to go and play football and when I started out with flag, my parents, like, there was no problem. I wanted to play tackle football, actually, but they wanted me to play for my local city team. And I wanted to play for a team that was, one of the other adjacent cities. And they were like, no, if you're going to play, you're going to play for your, for your city. Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll stick with flag. I'll stick, with playing for my school and whatnot. And then when I got to high school, that's when I stepped into like tackle football and really tried to take it to the next level.
So high school was the first step when it came to tackle?
Yes.
Talk about that high school experience and just kind of, you were cornerback, receiver?
So, yes, sir. I actually did, I went to a very small local high school, Bosco Tech in Rosemead. And when, back in the day, we weren't the best at football, but I did play a lot of positions. I started out as a quarterback. That was my main position that I started flagging and went into high school with. I played quarterback for my first 2 years. And then my coaches kind of, advised me like, hey, you're a little bit better of a receiver. You're not, the tallest kid. The quarterback may not be your best suit. So I easily transitioned over to wide receiver because playing quarterback helped me understand like route combinations and just understanding where I needed to be on the field. So I went over to receiver. I finished my varsity career playing receiver, and it was an awesome experience. I was able to get recruited out of my high school. I had several different scholarship offers to go play for like NAIA schools and, Kansas and Missouri and whatnot. But I decided to stay local right here. I ended up attending the University of Laverne, played a year of football there, and it was cool. It was fun. It was definitely an experience. Made a lot of friends, networked a lot with the coaches that were there, and some of the coaches that coached me my first year in college still help me till this day, and I've talked with them, and it's just awesome being able to have such a great support system.
So before we hop into the college days, Laverne, you said when you got to high school, the football program wasn't really known?
No,
was there
not
any
at all.
success there throughout your time, or how'd it go? Like, did it improve at least? Did you help build a base?
So honestly, and I could confidently say this, like my class, our 2017 class, we were kind of like the difference makers in our school program. Before getting there, before my junior year in high school, my high school team had gone 0-30. So they had 3 straight losing seasons of, just going 0-10. And it was really rough. It was really rough. There was a lot of different coaching staff changes and just a lot of difficulties within the school as far as like recruiting and getting kids in, admissions and stuff. And my junior year is the year where we actually broke the losing streak. We won. We ended up going 1-9. Again, not
win's a win.
Not the best, not the best record, but we did have to pull out, the one. So going in from our junior year, we went 1-9. My senior year, we went 3-7. And so actually, this past season, our Bosco Tech, they actually won their conference. So they ended up coming out first in conference. They won league champs. So it was cool, just being able to say like, hey, we started that. We took our program from a losing program and showed what we really could do and what it really could become. So it's just, incredible to see that.
So you're 100% part of the turnaround. I mean, that's something to take pride in, because sometimes a lot of people are disappointed, we didn't make the playoffs, we didn't win state. But I mean, if you can look back and you're like, the culture changed with me.
Oh, no, definitely. And I think that one of the biggest things is like I said, we had a lot of different coaching changes while we were there, but from the players themselves, it was really about leadership. And it was really like, okay, we understand that we're not the best, team, we're not the best program, but we're going to show that if you do the necessary things to get to where you want to be, and we kind of instill that in the younger kids that are coming up, like it'll definitely continue out through the rest of the years. And leadership was a big thing that was instilled in us from our coaches and from our school, and just as like a holistic perspective, like just trying to be leaders, not only on the football field, but off the field too.
So you finish up the high school career as a receiver, and then like you said, you stay local, go to Laverne. Talk about the experience at Laverne, transitioning from high school to college.
So transitioning from high school to college, it was cool. I actually liked it a lot. We went from practicing every day, in high school, to going to college, and we had summer practices, and they were, all day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., double weight rooms, double film sessions, double practices. So that was really fun. It was really cool being in a college environment, kind of see how things are ran from like a coach's perspective, and just kind of see how they build camaraderie between kids that have never been together, and just kind of understanding like the ranking system and how you get placed on the roster, and what it takes to really get on the field and get playing time and all that stuff. So it was a really good experience. I enjoyed it a lot. I made, again, like I said, a lot of connections, not only with the coaches, but the players as well. And there's a lot of players that I played with at Laverne that I still keep in contact with today. And, we just try to constantly help each other and, just push each other and try to figure out ways of how we can network together and help ourselves elevate.
So the playing career, it was only 1 year at that school?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I only did 1 year. Right after my freshman year had ended, I had decided, I was like, I'm going to hang up the cleats. I want to give back to my community. I want to give back to the kids in the area, and just, take on the role as a coach. And I had a coach who actually reached out to me and was like, hey, if you want to coach, you want to get involved, let me know. We'd be happy to have you on staff and whatnot. So doors kind of opened up for me right away as soon as I was done playing. And I just kind of felt like it was a sign from God to just, take that route and, go and have that leap of faith and just kind of go all in. So.
And at Laverne, what was your major?
Kinesiology.
Okay, and can you talk about how that ties into like your coaching now?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything, honestly. With kinesiology, there's so much that I've learned, not only about the body, but about health, mental health as well. And it's just, there's so many things that we've learned from weightlifting and, sports performance training, not only for boys, but for females as well, that I use in a day-to-day basis with the training, with the kids that I work with. So basically all the stuff that I've learned at Laverne, as far as training, as far as kinesiology goes, I use everything and I implement it directly into our sports training program, and just try to figure out ways to kind of mirror what was taught from the textbook, right into real life and make it applicable.
And freshman year, you finish up playing and you said you want to give back to the community, turn into a coach. Was coaching always something you had in mind, or is that something that came up as you realized, the future wasn't playing football anymore?
So while I was in high school, I realized that, again, like I said, I wanted to fill a leadership role. And my sophomore year, I was named team captain. I would kind of lead our practices like after school and whatnot during dead period. So during that time, I kind of was like, this might be something that is going to interest me later on. Going into my senior year, I actually worked with a coach that had coached me when I was in high school, and I helped him start up his training organization and build up what he was trying to do for his kids in his area. And it was kind of like an internship kind of deal. I would show up every weekend and just like work out the kids, put them through different drills. So it was definitely something that I always knew I wanted to do. As like time started getting closer and closer to going to college and whatnot, I was like, okay, well, if football doesn't work out, if I get injured or whatnot, then I definitely have this, and this is something I'm passionate about. So I'm like, might as well keep within the realm, and that's kind of why I chose kinesiology, and because I thought about doing business and doing business administration and a lot of stuff like that, but it's just not, doing numbers all day doesn't interest me. Being able to be on the field and develop leaders and athletes is like that's what brings me joy, at the end of the day.
Well, despite not getting that business, degree, you still are to an extent like a businessman.
Yes, sir.
For the training route led you to Beast. So do you mind kind of telling the audience what Beast is, what it stands for, how it started?
So B stands for binary exercise and sports training. Binary exercise is just all the different types of exercise basically put together. So you have weightlifting, Pilates, yoga, all different types of exercise that we promote within the training. And then sports training is the other aspect of it. So we don't focus solely on football training. That happens to be the main thing that we do, but I've worked with, soccer players, track athletes, volleyball players. Most recently, I had a female basketball player come in and just kind of go through a specific training program designed for her. So that's kind of what B stands for. Specifically, what we do is we do sports training for youth through college athletes. The youngest we go is anywhere between 8 to 10 years old, depending on what the parents want and what it is specifically that they're looking for. But we do sports training from youth all the way up to college, just trying to figure out how to enhance the kids' performance, how to make them better, how to make them faster, stronger, just even understanding how their body's supposed to move. Because a lot of kids, they come in and they have the wrong idea of how their body's supposed to move, and they're doing the wrong movements, and stuff isn't the way it's supposed to be to help them maximize their performance. So that's pretty much what we focus on. We do weightlifting, we do field training. We also have a competitive youth organization, youth 7-on-7 organization. And what 7-on-7 is, it's basically all the skills players without the O-lineman. It's kind of like flag football, but again, without the O-lineman. We go and compete nationally. We've been to Arizona, Vegas, NorCal. We try to travel a lot so the boys get a wide range of athleticism that they see.
So the moment you started coaching and you went to that route, did Beast start then, or did you take a while to get that up and running? So
the Beast didn't come right away. Beast was something that I was working on for, I would say, about like a good 6 months, because I started my coaching page, which is Coach A. I started that back in January of, I want to say, 2018. From there, I was starting to formulate, okay, now I have me, who I want to be, and the coach that I'm trying to fill, and the person I'm trying to become, but I needed something to attach my name to, and a brand that the people could follow and could believe in. So that's kind of where I came up with Beast. I had a lot of help from my friends in college, just learning on like how to make a logo, how to formulate the name, what do I want to call it, like. There was like so many different like things that we were gonna call it before we actually like came to Beast, and it was just a lot of trial and error. But it was something cool to be able to develop, and over time just kind of see how how it started out as like, like a ball of Play-Doh, and like we were able to turn it into something, masterpiece.
So you started doing this program, or excuse me, this company Beast while you're in college. Can you talk about balancing both of those things?
Oh man, wow, what a struggle! Honestly, what a struggle it was. Starting early out, I was mainly focused on school, and school was the big focal point. As I started to get more athletes and more kids and whatnot, it was evident that I needed to take more time to focus on the business and developing the programs and kind of the administrative stuff that needed to go on, like as far as signing kids up, registering kids, getting information out to the parents and whatnot. So it was definitely a lot of trial and error, but it was really good. It was really good. And I really wanted to start out young when I was in college so that I could make all the mistakes early on. A lot of people go into their careers, 35 and older and whatnot. And I figured, well, I'm young. If I make a mistake, we could chalk it up to, me being young and, we'll call it a day, learn and move on. But that definitely didn't mean like, oh, okay, we'll just do whatever you want and make whatever mistakes you want. No, everything was, still very calculated. Every move was precise. And it was really cool because, again, like I said, I was able to go from helping kids to learning what was in the textbook and applying it right to them. So what I would learn directly in class, like on a Monday in my Kines class, well, I would have a private training or a training that afternoon, and I would take it. Okay, boom, these are my notes. This is what I learned. I'm going to go and directly implement it into the kids. So it's been awesome, because as I've grown, the kids have grown as well. And so that's something that I always tell them, like we're lifelong learners. What we're doing is I'm not here to tell you that I know everything and that everything that I have is set in stone and it's perfect and you're going to, go to the NFL or whatever, but we're going to learn and we're going to grow together. I'm going to teach you what I know, you're going to grow, and I'm going to constantly be learning myself and constantly teaching myself new concepts and, new theories of football, so that way you guys have the most updated knowledge. And that's pretty much, the focal point is giving kids the most updated knowledge, because there's a lot of coaches within the industry that are old, or aren't up to date with what's going on. So I want to be able to give them that competitive edge,
When you talk about growth, obviously you've made some progress from then to now. Can you talk about the difference from when you first started to now, like what the setup's like, your clientele?
Oh, it's been day and night, honestly. Well, when I first started, it was mostly just private trainings, just, one-on-one sessions.
Or would you do it like at a local field or?
Pretty much. Okay. So I would find a park that was like close to wherever the kid was at, and kind of like a midsection between like myself where I was at school in Laverne and mostly like Covina areas. But I would set up a one-on-one session with the kid, meet for about an hour and a half, go through, these specific drills and stuff like that. Going from there, then I was able to group enough kids to start doing group workouts, group trainings and whatnot. And then that's kind of where I started to see like, wow, there's a huge amount of kids in this area that need help. And it's not just, one kid, and it's not enough to just do one session at a time. So as time went on, I started to put together a staff of people who I trusted and who I thought were capable of teaching kids the proper way and the right things, not only on the field, but, just about life in general. And so throughout my first 2 years coaching, going into quarantine, I was able to put together like a really good group of coaches, a lot of who have actually like moved on and have started their own businesses, which I'm honestly happy for them, because, at the end of the day, we all have our own goals and we all have our own things that we want to reach. So that was pretty much like kind of like the flow, building a team. Once we built that team and I had everybody established, we unfortunately went into quarantine. Everything was kind of leading up and it was culminating and things were coming together. Going into January through March, we were competing. A lot of our kids were, had local practices at Bosco Tech. We were running weight room, field trainings right there on the weekends. And then, COVID hit March 2020. And it kind of just left all the kids like, well, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to get better? And nobody really knew how long it was going to last, So my thing was, okay, what can I do right now to make sure that these kids continue to get better, continue to progress? Because a lot of people were just on the couch at home doing nothing. And I coach a lot of like the top performing athletes in this area. And so my thing was like, okay, I can't let these kids fall off. I can't let all the hard work that we've been putting into this, just kind of dwindle away. And so that's kind of what led me to build the gym. And it was awesome. We had about 20 to like 30 kids in here a day just training. There was like about 5-6 coaches on staff that were in here doing, field training outside on the grass or handling, multiple weight room sessions in here. And it was awesome just seeing like the kids come together, not only the coaches, but the kids. And really, we were able to really build a community of athletes specifically from this area that just wanted to get better, that just wanted to grind. So it was awesome. And right now, pretty much what we do is with clientele, we bring them in, they do weight room training, and then they do field training at the end. So we try to give not only athletes, but the parents, the most bang for their buck. We try to make it to where it's affordable, one, because we're from the San Gabriel Valley and we're not the richest community out there, but try to make it affordable, and we try to make it to where the athlete is benefiting the most from it. If you get a kid and you're charging them, however X amount of dollars, but they're only getting 1 hour session, how much better are they really getting? Whereas you're giving a kid, okay, you have an hour of weight room, then you have an hour of speed training, and then you have an hour of field training with specific to your sport. Now they're getting 3 hours of training, 3-4 days a week. The results, are day and night. It's like, man, we really start to see these kids go from 0 to 100.
Despite COVID, you're able to grow from one-on-one training sessions to a staff, having your own gym, getting 20 to 30 kids a day.
Yes, sir. And honestly, a lot of people were like really like kind of surprised on how things kind of really took off overnight. But it took a lot of work. It took a lot of teamwork. And it was constant. We were trying to, give kids rides into the gym to, make it easier for the parents. Cause, some parents were worried like, okay, well, what about COVID? Like, well, what if my kid gets sick? And so we took a lot of safety precautions in here. And a lot of what we did during quarantine, we weren't posting about it. We weren't, talking about it. We weren't making it really known to the public because we didn't want, backlash from, people who were opposed to what we were doing, and so we were able to really network with the families that we had and really make a lot of closer connections and closer bonds with the kids and their parents to let them know, like, hey, this is a safe environment. This
you practice
somewhere.
like the safety protocols. And all that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's all you can really. If you're doing that, you're like being honest, transparent with the parents, like
exactly.
And another thing you talked about that I wanted to touch upon, because I didn't even think about it. I don't think most people think about it. A lot of things that come from this is you think about the players that come out of this and their progress. But you talked about staff members already running their own things. You have a coaching tree going on. How old are you?
22.
22. You have a coaching tree. So
yes,
that's
sir.
Pretty impressive. Talk about that. Like, do you have any sense of pride in that? Or?
Oh, no, of course. Honestly, early on, I kind of was like, oh, man, these guys are leaving. And for me, it was kind of a reflection like, oh, am I doing something wrong? Is my leadership not there? Am I kind of falling off in certain aspects? And I did a lot of reflecting, and I spoke with a lot of the coaches that have moved on and whatnot. And like I said, it was just a matter of personal goals. Everybody has their certain spot that they want to be in life, and they want to live their life a certain way. And it was totally awesome to see that these grown men, guys that were 4, 5, 6 years older than me come in and learn the business nuances, what I was able to show them, like, okay, this is how we run practice. This is how we get clientele. This is how we work with parents as far as like finances and whatnot. And to see them go on and do their own thing, it's awesome. I had a coach who came in and he didn't coach, any specific position on the field. He was just a high school coach, and he was just kind of there just on his own will, just wanting to help and wanting to be there for the kids. And, towards the end of quarantine, he was like, I'm going to step away. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to develop my own team, and, we're going to be competitive and whatnot. And actually some of the players that played for me throughout quarantine and prior to that went over to his team and were competing. And at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for the boys. They get a chance to go out and see new things and get new coaching and play. And I'm only one man, and it's hard to service, at one point we had 90 kids in our program.
Wow.
So it's like, I can't do everything, so at the end of the day, for me to see, that coach go on and do his own thing and develop his own program and
inspired by you, whether you want to believe it or not.
Correct. Yes, sir. And just, see the amount of coaches and the amount of teams that have been put together since I started Beast. It's awesome, because at the end of the day, we didn't have a lot of opportunities like that before here. And and just to see the coaches come out and be inspired and want to take that role and just give back. It's incredible because that's what our community needs. Like, we have a lot of talented athletes in this area, but not a lot of kids make it out. And so with more coaches, with more opportunities, it's endless for these kids.
How do you go about getting kids into your program? You reach out, word of mouth?
So it's a little bit of both. We're really big on social media. We try to post a lot of what the kids are doing, especially now that we're out of quarantine. We try to post a lot of their game highlights, kids working out, new maxes, new PRs that they're doing, or just even, stuff that they're doing in school, whether, they got Scholar Athlete of the Month or, made Principal's Honor. We try to really promote the kids and say, like, look, these are the kids that we're training, and this is what they're doing, and these are the leadership roles that they're filling, and how they're doing academically in school. And other parents see that, and they're like, well, they have a group of kids that are student athletes specifically, and I want my son to be that, and I want him to fill that role. So parents are constantly talking, constantly bringing their kids over. Like I said, we do a lot of promotional stuff for the kids on Instagram, just trying to push their name out there and let people know, not only for college coaches, but as high school coaches as well, because we service the youth. We service kids from 5th grade, 4th grade, all the way up to 8th grade. And so some of these kids are getting opportunities to go to some of the top high schools in the area, like LaSalle High School, like Bishop Alma, Cathedral and whatnot. So it's really just a matter of giving kids an opportunity, and it's awesome.
For anyone who's curious, maybe there's an athlete who might listen to this, or a pitch, what does a normal average day look like for an athlete that comes in to train? I know you talked about, you got weights, you got the field work, you got speed training, but what exactly goes into that?
So our biggest thing first and foremost is homework. Is school. If you're not taking care of school, then we can't really do anything for you. So what kids do is we give kids an opportunity to, as soon as they come out of school, go home, do your homework. They typically come to the gym around 4:30. They get about an hour to hour and a half of weight training specifically. So they'll come in here, they'll do push and pull exercises on any given day. And everything is periodized for them. So we write up the programming for every individual athlete, not just like a general workout. Because if you did a general workout, like me and you are different body types, so my results are going to be different from yours. So we designed the weight room programs for the kids, specifically for them. They do about an hour and a half of that, core strength training, all that stuff. And then we go from here, from the gym, we go to like a local field, a local park, and we do like speed training. We do hand-eye coordination stuff, and we run like a lot of routes on air. We do quarterback training, wide receiver training. So kids get, like I said, that full range of training. Just open the doors for whatever it is that they want to do. If you want to just do weight room, cool, just do weight room. If you want to do field, cool, just do field. If you want to do both, hey, you're doing the most that you can. So we make everything available.
So you've had quite a bit of success built up with all these kids you've had. I mean, you've dealt with hundreds at this point.
Yeah.
So at this point, there are kids who've probably had some good success going on. Is there any like some individual kids you could shout out and just kind of tell their story?
One kid that I could specifically think about is Bryson Reeves. He's a freshman right now at the University of Utah, graduated from St. Francis High School, had a tremendous, senior year. He came in as a junior going into COVID, and he was training here, 5-6 days a week, field training, weight room training, and he was one of our first big-time Division I athletes that made it out specifically from this training program. And it was really cool just to see him develop as a person. And one thing that I think that we really helped him with was developing leadership. And it's incredible to see, because he actually just came back this past weekend and worked an event that I was at, the Throwdown, hosted by Sam Fisher from Throw to Win. And Bryson came out and he flew out on his free weekend to come and coach the kids and just teach them and show them like what exactly that they're supposed to be doing on the field. And it was awesome, to see him go from being that player and dominating, in high school football to now being a college athlete and wanting to turn around and give back. And that was something that we developed a lot throughout like quarantine. He was one of our older kids. We had two younger kids that are underclassmen. One's a junior right now, and one's a senior and one's a junior. The senior is Noah Rodriguez, quarterback at Monrovia High School, and the junior is Carlos Hernandez. He's a wide receiver as well as Monrovia High School. And man, these kids were the ultimate duo. And these boys have been training, you know, consistently day in, day out for a year. And they put up crazy numbers. They won, you know, first team all league, first team all CIF. And it was tremendous just to see the amount of work that they put in, you know, 5, 6 days a week to just culminate to, you know, being the best players in this area and having that duo. Like every week, you know, the sports writers were talking about them and saying, you know, watch out for these guys. Look at what they're about to be doing. And they were putting up crazy numbers. Like Carlos Hernandez was averaging like 250 yards a game. And he ended up being, I want to say like the number 7 or like, you know, top 10 wide receiver in California as a junior, you know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, you know, coming from right here, coming from, you know, this garage and this small city, and it was awesome, you know, to be able to give those kids an opportunity, 1, to get better, and then 2, to be able to go out there and do what they do on the field and really show like, hey, you know, we are dominant and we are kids that from this area, we can play, and, you know, we deserve to play at the next level.
Some of these kids that come in probably, obviously, especially with their success, probably have some natural talent, some more than others. But there might be some kids that come in and they don't have it. You don't see them. You're not like, oh, they're going to the next level. But their work ethic could be something that takes them there. How is it working with kids like that? Because it's probably similar to you. Oh,
definitely. Yeah. So that was actually my main kind of like inspiration, my main motivation for doing it. I wasn't, you know, athletically gifted. I'm not, you know, the tallest or the fastest or the strongest, but I definitely put a lot of effort into my training coming out of high school. And so that was my biggest thing, was like, okay, how can I take the kids that are in this area that aren't athletically gifted and teach them, you know, the little nuances of the game that will give them the competitive edge? And that was a lot of the kids that we saw throughout quarantine. You know, a lot of kids that, you know, weren't the best at their school, but they came and they dedicated the hours and the time to really perfect their craft and really master it. And it was awesome. And honestly, seeing those kids was really what wakes me up every day and what motivates me, because anybody could take, you know, the tallest kid and make them, you know, into a Division I athlete and be, you know, somebody of stature. But it's hard to take, you know, your typical, you know, 5'9", you know, Mexican kid and, you know, really beef them up and turn them into something. And so that's really the drive that we have here at Beast, is like we service the San Gabriel Valley. We service the kids in our community, the Latinos, the Asian community, and just trying to help kids that don't have that competitive edge. Because if they put in the more hours, you know, it's eventually gonna culminate to something, and they'll be able to be at that caliber, even past it.
One of the reasons I wanted to bring up hard work and transitioning into like high levels of success this Sunday. So we're recording this Friday, February 11th, before the Super Bowl.
Nice.
One of the best players on the field, some might argue the best, Cooper Kupp. Oh, definitely, yeah. He doesn't have the measurables, but he puts in that work. Talk about, you were talking about kind of like the NFL experience. The Super Bowl is here in LA. Talk about, you know, taking your kids to that experience and just what you're looking forward to with it.
So we're pretty excited. We'll be taking our boys to the NFL experience this weekend. The NFL experience is a fun day for family and for kids to go and kind of see what the NFL has to offer as far as, you know, seeing what, like the championship rings, and they'll have like little obstacle courses and little throwing stuff that the boys can go and you know, have fun and be competitive in. And it's something that we really are focused on this weekend as far as building our community and building a culture. We really want the kids to understand, like, hey, this is the level that you can potentially be at, and this is somewhere where you can go and you can be represented and you can represent your city. And we're really just trying to give kids the opportunities to see things that they haven't seen before. You know, with the NFL experience, that only happens once a year in the city where the Super Bowl is being hosted. And, you know, we're lucky enough to have it here at SoFi, you know, with the Rams and being able to see the dominant team that we have this year here in LA. And so we just want to give the kids an opportunity to go and just see everything that's offered there and see the Super Bowl rings and, you know, see what their career can culminate to at the end of the day. And it's awesome, you know, because we don't get these experiences all the time. We don't have these opportunities to do that. So to be able to give it back to the kids and for them to really come together and be one as a team and see everything, I think it's going to be awesome.
And you talk about diversity and giving these opportunities, what does it mean to you to be able to give kids, who probably don't have as much privilege, that platform and that opportunity to improve and make it to the next level?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Honestly, it's really the reason why I wake up every day. I really coach about 6 to 7 days a week, pretty much all week, at least like 2, 3, 4 hours a day. And it's just, I understand that if I take a day off, if I take, a weekend off, that these kids lose time to get better. They lose an opportunity to get better. And so my biggest thing is just constantly giving them the chance. Hey, come out, come work out. Here's another chance for you to get better, to grow within your realm of your sport and whatnot. So to me, it's everything, because if these kids didn't have, me, if they didn't have Beast, if they didn't have the coaches that are involved, well, who's going to be taking them to the park? Who's going to teach them, that next level stuff? Who's going to show them really what's out there and what's for them? And I think that's really what makes Beast special, is that we're constantly giving these kids the opportunity and the chance to see, whereas if they were by themselves, or if they were, with any other specific program, they may not get the same chances, the same opportunities.
And I don't think anyone, at least at this point listening to the podcast, would question the passion and the hard work you put into this. But just in case they do, can you share with us what you've put into this? I mean, we're currently sitting in your garage. You've set up a whole weight room, and you talked about putting in turf. Just talk about kind of the financial commitment and the mental, emotional as well.
Oh, honestly, I'll be very honest. It was rough. It was really rough because, like you said earlier, I'm really young, and like I said, with school too, it was a lot of trial and error, trying to figure out what worked and what didn't. But passion is really what drives me. And I experienced a little bit of burnout during COVID. Like I said, we were going 5-6 days a week, and that was, all day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So it was a little rough. It was hard to learn how to navigate. But I was really thankful for quarantine, because I was able, like I said, to do the trial and error, see what times worked, see what times didn't, see if we were pushing the kids a little too much, if I was pushing myself too much. But at the end of the day, it's all passion, it's all love for the kids. And honestly, from a financial perspective, that was definitely really one of the hard parts to navigate through, because we don't charge the parents or the kids a lot of money for what we do, and we try to keep it very cost efficient. So it's really a matter of, like I said earlier, calculated moves and doing everything very precisely, to where I'm able to save up and afford better equipment and afford, things that the kids need, whether it's, dumbbells or squat racks or, medicine balls. Just recently, this past weekend, I was able to pick up a jugs machine, and, that's not, a cheap piece of equipment. And so,
explain what that is, just in case someone
doesn't know. A jugs machine, it's like a football. It's a piece of football equipment. It has like 2 tires that spin, and you put the football in there, you load it up, and then you shoot it through. So it's basically for wide receivers, just to work on hand-eye coordination, and it's stuff that they have at like high school and collegiate programs, and they have top-notch stuff. So we're trying to bring what they use at the collegiate level and the high school level here for the youth and for the kids, so that as they develop and they get older, they're kind of used to having these things. And it's just awesome, because we get about like 15 to 20 kids in here, like still to this day. And just seeing them, excited about the new equipment and seeing them excited to learn new things. It's awesome. And I'm actually going to be putting turf in my backyard. So that's again, another financial commitment. But I think at the end of the day, like, if these kids didn't have these things or this place to come to, then it would be like, they would be doing other things, and they would be kind of getting distracted in their life. And we honestly had a kid who was playing with us and last year, and he was going with our program and with our team, and he got a little sidetracked and wasn't able to continue. And he actually went and got caught up with the wrong things and the wrong crowd, and was put in a juvie. And so when he came out of juvie, he came right back to me and was like, "Hey, coach, like, this is what happened. This is what I went through, and I want to come back to Beast. I want to focus. I want to be a leader. I want to develop." And these were all his words, and just his heart. And it was awesome hearing it, because it's like, okay, well, I know as a coach, like, my responsibility, like how serious my job is and how important it is for me to really be a leader to these kids and have something available for them, because there's so many things out there that can be distracting to youth and to young high school athletes. So it's just we got to make everything available for them, so that they don't veer off and they stay on the right track.
these kids just aren't clients. They're people and kids you care about deeply, right?
Oh yeah, man. I love these kids. I've made them food. Sometimes if I have one kid and he stays late, his parents are late to pick him up. I'll take him inside. Hey, you want to eat? Are you hungry? You want to play? On my Xbox and stuff like that. So I really try to focus on the family aspect of it and just trying to build, again, like I said, a community and just show these kids like that they're loved and that they have somebody out there that cares for them and that really wants to see them succeed, because not all the time do families really like promote that for within themselves. And it's like, if they don't hear it from their family, well, they need to hear it from somebody else. And I try to treat all of them kind of like they're my little bro, like my nephews and stuff like that, and just show them love and tell them that they are loved and that they do have a role and they do have a place in this world, and if they focus and they do what the things that they're supposed to do, that they can turn around and one day give that same love and that same attention and to somebody else.
And that care, I think, is part, attributes to where you are today and how you've gotten this far. So one last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is the future outlook for this. I wanted to ask you, from a personal and professional standpoint, but it seems like those are kind of tied together. So what is the future of Beast?
Yes, sir. So I could definitely attest that they are definitely tied together, professionally and personally. But the future of Beast, is endless. Honestly, we'll be moving out of this gym probably within a year or two, moving into a more solidified location. And my goal is kind of to build Beast into what the YMCA is today, just a little bit more with more knowledgeable coaches, more affordable training, and really make it a place for kids to come together and really grow and compete together and whatnot. And just continue to build teams. We've able to build multiple teams within the San Gabriel Valley. So, hopefully be able to franchise like a gym throughout the country where, it's not just in California, where we have kids in Arizona that, are going to their Beast facility with, their specific coach Arthur, their coach A out there. And that guy's teaching them about life and about, the things that they need to learn to get to the next level. So pretty much just doing that, making it available, nationwide. We do want to start moving into like the apparel aspect and, start designing clothes and whatnot. But, we're not trying to be as big as Nike. We just want to make affordable clothing, for kids. You don't have to pay, $40 for a T-shirt. You could pay, $15 for a T-shirt, and it's equal material, and it's not like overly expensive, And so that's another thing that we definitely want to do. And one thing that I've actually been working a lot with one of my friends, Johnny Romero, a dude that I met at the University of Laverne. We're working.
No relation, same last name, no relation.
Oh no,
Okay.
no. It's just my boy. Like we go way back. But me and him have actually been working. We're trying to put together a program for student athletes that are going from youth through college to be able to sign these NIL deals and be able to get themselves money, because with Beast, myself specifically, I've done different brand affiliations and marketing for different companies and whatnot. So I want to take what I've learned and what Johnny's learned in the sports marketing aspect and the sports business world, put it together so we could teach these kids like, hey, look, now you can go around and turn around, make money, off your name, off your image, and how much people like you. And at the end of the day, it's really about giving back, not only giving back knowledge, giving back love, but being able to put money in these kids' pockets so that they can understand, okay, well, these are the roles that I could take, and this is the avenue that I can grow in and be able to support themselves financially and, eventually, hopefully, financially support their families and just teach them that they're able to make their own money and they don't have to rely on, going to, McDonald's to go work after football practice or after school, So we're just trying to continue to build more opportunities, build more revenue, build more channels for revenue for kids, and just continue to build it up.
So build a recognizable, respectable brand without losing sight of why you started, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, I think it's awesome. Canon Sports wants to congratulate you on all your success. We look forward to the future, and we want to thank you for joining us today.
Yes, sir. No, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Canon Sports, TikTok at Canon Sports Official, and of course, canonsports.com for all your sporting goods needs. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.